I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirectly, it involves Caitlin Clark, the Department of Justice, and quite possibly the President of the United States himself.
Stephen A. Smith isn't just sharing a strong opinion here. He's shifting the conversation around how Caitlin Clark is being treated on the court. For over a year, her supporters have raised concerns about her being unfairly targeted. The fouls, missed calls, and aggressive defense seem to go beyond normal gameplay. Yet, for just as long, many have dismissed these concerns, calling her overly sensitive or saying she should toughen up and handle it. The idea that there could be legal consequences for this treatment was often met with disbelief. That changed recently with a new opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal, which didn't just question how the league is managing Clark's situation. It argued that what she's experiencing could potentially violate federal civil rights laws. While many media outlets ignored or ridiculed the piece, Stephen A. Smith took it seriously. He discussed it in detail during a show and outlined how this issue could escalate quickly. Yes, there's now talk of a civil rights investigation into how the WNBA is treating Caitlin Clark. It sounds intense and maybe a bit unexpected, but if Stephen Yes' perspective gains traction, it could spell serious trouble for the league. Let's take a closer look at his comments and what might happen moving forward. Before we dive in, if you believe Caitlin Clark is being unfairly targeted on the court, please like this video. And if you think it's just part of the game, leave a comment below.
Which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Kennedy Carter.
That rough play by Kennedy Carter during Caitlin's rookie year became a defining moment, almost a symbol, of the kind of physical treatment Caitlin has been subjected to on the court. But it wasn't just a single incident. Since she started in the league, Caitlin has been hit, elbowed, scratched, and shoved repeatedly, yet the referees often seem to overlook these fouls. This isn't a series of random events or isolated cases. If you've been watching closely, you know exactly what's going on. Some have tried to dismiss it as typical rookie hazing, like she needs to earn respect from other players. But this goes beyond normal league toughness. This is deliberate targeting, and it's been escalating. Remember Diana Taurasi's well-known warning: reality is coming.
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
And it definitely arrived, and hasn't let up since. Sophie Cunningham, a veteran in the league and one of the rare players to openly support Caitlin, recently spoke out and addressed the issue head-on.
You have seen players in our league try to toughen up Caitlin. We call her CC. For even when I wasn't on her team, I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of no, we're gonna prove her, we're gonna show her what the W really is. You know what I mean? And I get it to a certain extent. And every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're gonna treat them. But
Right.
There's just more for her. So it's her second year, and now being on her team and seeing it, I'm what are people doing? Actually, it's just too much.
Sophie has witnessed it all up close. Having spent years in the league, she knows exactly how Caitlin has been treated. When she finally reached her limit, Sophie made her feelings known. After JCS Sheldon swung at Caitlin's face, Sophie didn't hesitate. She physically pushed back, making sure everyone saw what was happening. When reporters asked her about it, she was straightforward. This wasn't about a single game, a one-time hit, or an isolated event. She highlighted the ongoing pattern of behavior.
During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so.
Look, it's normal for players to mark their calendars when they're facing the biggest star in the league. You want to prove yourself, bring the intensity, and stand out. Physical play is part of the game, no doubt. But many of these hits go beyond what's acceptable, and there are no consequences. So, why is that happening? Some say race plays a role, but at its core, it boils down to one thing: jealousy. Caitlin isn't just popular, she's the biggest name in the league by far. Instead of celebrating what she brings to the game, too many players seem to see her success as a threat. When Caitlin was left out of the players' all-star voting, ESPN legend Dick Vitale spoke out. He tweeted, It's time for everyone in the WNBA to recognize the value Caitlin Clark brings. Many talented players are finally getting the recognition they deserve because of the attention Caitlin has generated. Enough with the pettiness. He's got a point. While jealousy might be natural, how it's showing up now is hurting both the business and the sport. Candace Parker noticed it too, and she didn't hold back from saying what needed to be said.
Everybody has a Twitter finger. Everybody can have reach to, the WNBA and make comments. But really the key is let's keep it about basketball. That's my thing. And when we do that, then we're able to really grow the game and what it represents. I still know, all of those players, the Dr. J's and all that stuff. I don't think they're not salty that MJ came along and grew the game.
This whole situation feels familiar, like the Tiger Woods era, when many doubted his rise, questioned his style, and challenged his dominance. But even then, the top players quickly realized what Tiger was doing. He was growing the game. That's exactly what's happening now in the WNBA. Many are trying to downplay Caitlin's impact and dismiss her achievements, but the facts speak for themselves. She's changing the culture. Just listen to what Phil Mickelson said about Tiger. It's strikingly similar reasoning, just in a different sport.
I'm so appreciative of what he's done for the game, but in that he's done as much for me or more than anybody else.
For all of us?
Because we're all in this together. Okay, we all make our living in golf, whether it's members of the media, whether it's players, whether it's caddies, anybody, we all want to build up this product, and nobody built up the game more than he did. When I came out on tour in 1990, summer of 1992, or when I won the Tucson Open, the purse was $1 million. The entire purse, first place $180,000. And I remember thinking mid-90s, I wonder if someday we'll play for $1 million first place check. I don't know, probably not in my lifetime, but I hope we do. And here we are every week, $1 million plus first place check. And that's due to Tiger. So now we have these purses that have gone way up. We have TV revenue and exposure. We have more medias covering it, which creates more value for corporate America. And all these opportunities drove up my revenue and every other player's revenue on the golf course and off the golf course. So I'm always appreciative of it.
But this isn't the 90s anymore. We're in the social media era, the age of instant information. News spreads quickly, and conversations happen across the globe in real time. Now, how Caitlin Clark is treated isn't just a topic on SportsCenter or in the papers. It's become a national conversation, with mainstream voices stepping in to weigh on the issue.
How he'd stop the fighting, he thought they meant the WNBA. What is going on? Protect Caitlin Clark at all costs, please. Enough of this.
When a popular late-night host like Jimmy Fallon publicly calls on the league to protect Caitlin Clark, and the crowd responds with cheers, you know something significant has shifted. This isn't just fans talking anymore. It's become a broader public conversation. People aren't just upset. They're demanding real change. What began as fan frustration is now possibly heading into the legal arena. For the first time, Caitlin's treatment is being discussed as a potential civil rights matter. A recent op-ed in the Wall Street Journal didn't just criticize how the WNBA has handled Clark. It suggested that her treatment might actually violate federal civil rights laws. The author, Sean Lan, isn't just any commentator. He's a former White House associate counsel from the first Trump administration, bringing serious legal expertise to the table. His claims are serious. He argues that the league's repeated failure to protect Caitlin Clark, despite clear evidence, may have crossed into legally actionable territory. Lan points to a hostile work environment created by ongoing abuse on the court, lack of response from the league, and unchecked public criticism from other players. He believes this could justify investigations by the Department of Justice, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and even Congress. Moreover, he warns that if this escalates, it could prompt a re-examination of the WNBA's antitrust exemptions, which currently shield it from certain legal challenges. Why would the government step in? Because Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's an economic powerhouse. Lan backs this up with hard data. Merchandise sales soared by 601%. Indiana Fever's viewership jumped 170%. League Pass subscriptions grew by 366%. WNBA app engagement increased 613%, and Clark's endorsements have already surpassed $11 million. Despite all this, the league's response has been nearly silent. Instead of protecting its star and supporting the momentum she's generated, the WNBA appears to have allowed, or even fostered, an environment of targeting and hostility. Milan draws a sharp parallel to the case of Erica Hami, where the EEOC launched an investigation after allegations of mistreatment during pregnancy. Though Caitlyn's situation is different, Milan argues it deserves similar attention because of the ongoing harassment and lack of protection in her professional environment. The evidence is out there, from the incident with Kennedy Carter to Diana Taurasi's warning that reality is coming, to missed calls and viral videos capturing questionable fouls. Milan asserts the league's inaction isn't just unfair, it might be legally actionable. That said, this doesn't mean a lawsuit is imminent. Even many of Caitlyn's strongest supporters acknowledge this is a complex and challenging case. And some sports media voices have already begun to push back against these claims.
When you're getting all the attention, when you're the most exciting thing in the sport, when you're at the top, when you're making the most money, jealousy and envy is going to jump on the competitor's back and they're going to cut corners and do things. I don't like this article. I don't like the victimhood thing that's being thrown on Caitlin Clark. I get what the jealous, hating-ass Shaniquas are doing. I get it. But I can't go this far and just her civil rights are violated and the government needs to step in. You got to miss me with that.
Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark probably doesn't want to be part of all this. It's clear she's frustrated with how the games are officiated, but stepping into the spotlight as the center of a civil rights battle? That's not what she signed up for. If this situation moves forward, she'd likely want to put an end to it. Not because the mistreatment isn't serious, but because she doesn't want to be seen as playing the victim. Still, whether she's on board or not might not matter much anymore. Stephen A. Smith has just outlined a scenario where this issue stops being just talk and turns into something very real and very fast.
If the Trump administration can settle with Colombia for a $221 million settlement over what's taking place on the campus, you think you can definitively rule out what kind of noise can be made if the WNBA continues to allow this treatment of Caitlin Clark? You really think they're going to be silent?
Stephen A. makes a straightforward point. Now that Caitlin Clark's story has reached a national stage, if the targeting continues without any response, it could catch the attention of figures like President Trump. Not because he's a WNBA enthusiast, but because stories like this tend to grab headlines. And once the president weighs in, the entire situation shifts dramatically.
Now, before you go any further, I'm not here saying that the case will be won by the government if it got to that point or anything like that. I'm saying they have a case. They have an argument. And do we doubt that at his discretion, at his disposal, if he finds this to be an issue that's politically expedient for him, that Trump won't use this to feed his base? The golden child in her second year in the league, who was top 4 in MVP voting last year, the assist leader last year, a galvanizing talent that has done wonders for the NBA. If she is seen to be physically getting abused on a basketball court in a way that is such a clear and flagrant discrepancy compared to what happens to others, that man is not going to say something?
Agree with him or not, the key takeaway is this. There's a real possibility that this situation could escalate into something much bigger, more than many expect. The Trump administration has intervened in sports matters before, especially when issues of civil rights or unfair treatment arise. If this story gains momentum, he might feel compelled to get involved. Stephen A. even suggests it could serve as a convenient distraction from other pressing issues, and he's pretty sure that's what would happen. If that comes to pass, it would be a serious blow to the WNBA, its players, and possibly even Caitlin herself, who likely wants nothing to do with this. Once politics enter the equation, everything changes.
Now you got the Justice Department and the Trump administration being egged on to pay attention to this issue so it will get addressed. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it could be politically expedient. Yes, this could be all about feeding the MAGA base. Yes, this could end up being much ado about nothing. but it's not. Because a CBA negotiation is imminent. And those players that are talking about their value, what's going to be held against you is looking at your value when Caitlin Clark is not playing.
What if this ends up as a hearing on Capitol Hill? What if Caitlin Clark has to testify? What if her immense value to the league and the way she's been treated gets exposed in the national media? If that happens, public opinion will shift dramatically. This won't just be a PR headache. It could become a major crisis for the players and the league. Those impressive numbers, the 600% spike in merchandise sales, the packed arenas, the record-breaking TV ratings, they won't just be statistics anymore. They'll become official, documented evidence that can't be ignored. And once that happens, good luck negotiating the next collective bargaining agreement. You can't hold much leverage when Caitlin Clark's impact is being scrutinized in a legal setting. Even more concerning, sponsors will take notice. They're already aware of Caitlin's influence, but federal investigations? That's a red flag. This is exactly what Stephen A. is cautioning against. Every jealous remark, every tough foul, every instance of unequal treatment, they all come back to haunt the league and its players. And as Stephen A. points out, there's plenty of evidence to support these claims.
But 17 flagrant fouls have been called against people for beating up on Caitlin Clark. That's practically double what's happened for any other player in the league. They have evidence to say she's being treated unfairly. Even though I think it's just basketball and I think allow them to be competitive and they prefer for competitive juices to flow. I'm not talking about what I feel. I'm talking about the argument that this administration and this Department of Justice can make. You already saw the senator sent a letter. You think that's an accident? More's coming, y'all. Caitlin Clark gonna make national news. Caitlin Clark is going to be politicized. It's coming. I can smell it.
He points out that Caitlin has been the target of 17 flagrant fouls, more than any other player. Coaches, former players, analysts, and fans alike have raised their voices. The evidence is clear, and the pattern undeniable. That's why Stephen A. closes with a serious warning, one that both Caitlin's supporters and critics should be able to get behind.
WNBA, you've been forewarned. You gotta address this. Kill this noise now. Make sure you do what you gotta do. Last 2-minute reports from the referees. Emulate that from the NBA and institute that immediately. And start ejecting people if their behavior is too excessive. Against everybody, not just Caitlin Clark. Have a consistent policy. Don't make them find evidence that this inconsistency that's disfavorable to Caitlin Clark. Oh, there will be hell to pay.
While Caitlin Clark is the central figure in the Wall Street Journal piece, highlighted as the league's star facing unfair treatment on the court, the core issue goes beyond her. If officials simply called games fairly and the league held players accountable for on-court fouls, the jealousy might still be there, but the level of aggressive targeting would drop significantly to end that way. This is bigger than just Caitlin. When Stephen A. calls on the WNBA to improve officiating and increase accountability, it's a call that benefits all players. There's plenty of evidence showing this is a league-wide problem. Regardless of how you feel about the op-ed, Trump, or Stephen A., that's something every fan should want to see fixed. Hopefully, the WNBA leadership takes this op-ed as seriously as Stephen A. does. We know from experience with Trump that he doesn't hesitate to jump on issues, speak bluntly, and spark national conversations. I'm not debating the political angle Stephen A. mentioned, but if Trump views this as a national matter that resonates with his platform and supporters, there's a real chance he'll get involved. If you agree with Stephen A.'s perspective, this seems likely. The hope is the WNBA sees it the same way and acts now to protect all players on the court, especially Caitlin Clark, while safeguarding its reputation and financial health. Otherwise, this could spiral into a public relations nightmare the league may never recover from. Caitlin never asked for this. Most likely, she doesn't want it. She just wants to play basketball and win. But if things don't change, she could find herself right in the middle of it, facing a no-win situation. So, what do you think? Do you agree with Stephen A? Could this really happen? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.